Hi, my name is Bob and I'm renovating this 1973 Egg Harbor Sportfish boat. Well, hello everyone, welcome to Renovation Sportfish. In this episode we're back to 2019, September, October time frame, and working on putting in the first pieces of plywood. One of the pieces is the piece behind me here, right in front of the main bulkhead, and then the piece in front of the transom back there. So I'm installing those pieces with epoxy and fiberglassing them. Now, when I fiberglassed them in place last year, I didn't know at the time that I was going to be putting teak over the top, so I did 2 layers of fiberglass. I probably could have just done 1. So that's one of the things you're going to see that probably would have done differently. Well, I'm all set up here to start doing some fiberglassing. I've got the 2 aft pieces of decking here, and I'm going to be doing those. I've got the 4-piece here, the center one, and I've got the other 2 pieces of the 4 deck in front of me, behind me over here on the my workbench. I'm just going to do the bottoms of these so that I can, then I'll bring them to the boat and install them, and then I'll do the tops. Once it's on the boat, I'll fiberglass them in place. I normally use the Zinol, as I've described before, but unfortunately I don't think they even make it anymore. So I had to go with something else. Now, I did have some leftover Zinol, and you're not going to be able to see any difference here, but this is a piece of the old Zinol. I'll be doing the 2 small pieces and this longer piece with this material. Might as well use the scraps I had, but then for the bigger pieces here, I've got this, and it's Dynel, and it looks the same, except it's maybe a little more tan in color. Now we'll look at the corner of the plywood here first. This is where I kind of made it bent to drain into the scupper. You're looking at the bottom. And this is all filled with thickened epoxy here, and I've already sanded it down. This part didn't get filled because the support was here. When I put it in, I didn't want it to stick to the support, so I wasn't able to fill it. I used the leftover epoxy, mix it with some thickener, and fill this in. And the same thing on the other piece over there too. I've already filled in this with some thickened epoxy. the boat, and I brought all the deck pieces that I had in my shop this morning that I was working on back here. Got the two back ones kind of just screwed into place. Probably won't touch those today, probably work on those tomorrow. But I think I'm going to work on the center one here and the two end pieces today. Thing sticks out, it comes out this way a little bit and then comes down, so there's got to be some sort of notch in here somewhere. Now, this is just rough because this thing, who knows what the boat is doing. Yeah, it's pretty good, so. That's the first piece of decking in. Now, yesterday after I turned off the camera, I made sure all this crack back here, a little gap or whatever, it's a very small one, was all filled in with the leftover thickened epoxy I had done. I also filled these in, and then there was a pretty good sized gap back here that I had to fill. This morning I'm going to do these two end pieces nice and quick, and then we're going to get on. There's the end pieces there. Then we're going to fit these two larger pieces back here, and that's the real big deal for today, is to get these two pieces on. Both these pieces of plywood fitted now. They're all screwed down. So now I have to take them off and install them with epoxy. going to use this Total Fair by Total Boat. Business today is going to be to sand down all the fairing compound I put on yesterday on the screw holes and on the seams, and then I'm going to cut the fiberglass for tomorrow. Now you're getting a good idea of how it's going to fit. First piece, the second piece is going to come down. It's going to be the same, it's just going to come down further. And I'll trim it off down here instead, and I'll trim it around the supports over there. Well, lucky for you guys, you are not going to see my rant this morning because it was blurry and I had to refilm it. But I just ranted for about 10 minutes about the weather today, and I still have to mention it that it was supposed to be 80 degrees and sunny today and be a great day for doing the epoxy and fiberglassing. And I don't know if you can hear it or not right now, but it's raining, and it's about probably 60 degrees. So not the best day to be doing this. I'm probably going to be here forever. It's supposed to get nicer later, but I don't believe it. And it's just a total frustration, and it's how this boat project has gone all summer. Sometimes it's hard to even take, but I got to do it. It's the end of the year, and it's the only time I have, so I got to get going on it. Well, everyone, I kind of wimped out. I didn't film any of the installation of the first layer of fiberglass. I was just too stressed out, and it was too cool, and I was a little hot under the collar just because of the weather, I'll admit it, so didn't film it. Anyways, I can show you what I did. I just had to run out to the local marine store down the road because they have a ship store, and had to get some more epoxy. I felt like I was going to maybe run out, so anyways, I just went and did that. Now I got a little bit of a heater running over here, a small one. Got a second one down here by my feet that I'm going to turn on too. I'm going to close up the doorway here in a minute and try to get a little heat in here. It's about 65. The sun hasn't come out yet, so it's not really helping. It's supposed to come out at some point, but I don't know. It's kind of cloudy out there. I don't know if that's going to happen. So I'm going to have to rely on these heaters, and that's about it. So hopefully this dries and I can get the next coat going, at least in a couple hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, I don't know. But let me show you what I did. So here's the aft area. You can see it's all epoxy. There's my little things so I can get in and out of the boat. It's just temporarily on there so I can step inside. That's my main way into the boat right there. So there's the aft part, and then forward part. I'll have to let it adjust here. There we go. And that's it. Here's the forward part. So everything's in. Now I just have to wait for it to dry, and then I'll trim off all the excess and then put the second layer on. Well, the fiberglass is done. I finished it up yesterday. Didn't film any of it. It was just too much for me to do the fiberglass and film by myself. It was day didn't go the way I planned, and the weather wasn't helping, and yeah, it was a little too much stress in the air to be filming. So here we have it. Now, of course, it hasn't been sanded yet. That's what I was going to do today. It's a little warm, so I don't know if I'm going to do that, but here's the back part. Now there's 2 layers on the top surface and 1 on the vertical surface, forward portion. It's the same basic thing. I did fiberglass right over the door sill. I had sanded this all flush and fiberglass right over the door sill, right over the plywood bulkhead. I'll show you on the inside. And that came out pretty good, actually. I was surprised. So you can well, the lighting's a little not the greatest for this, showing this, but you can see the darker area, that's the bulkhead. So it's fiberglassed right over to the interior mahogany plywood. I finally finished sanding the fore and aft pieces of decking I put here in the cockpit. Okay, so we're ready to do the couple coats of epoxy here. Try to get 2 nice even coats on there without a lot of dripping or anything like that. So it's just a waiting game now. I'll wait for an hour and a half or so and put on a second coat and be done for the day over here. Okay, so right now what I'm going to do is where this exhaust flange was and they screwed into the hull, I replaced the plywood on the other side because it was all rotted. Now I got to take care of this gel coat, and there's all these cracks radiating, mostly from the screw holes, but there's also some that were radiating through here. I already fixed them where the boot stripe is, and they came down in here, so I've already fixed these, but now I've got to grind out all these other ones that I had never got to before. And to do that, I'm going to use this Dremel with this little bit right here. It's like a little diamond bit, and I just grind it out like that and then fill it in with an epoxy filler. Okay, so last time I filmed any of this, I just put some filler on there. Yesterday I actually sanded it, didn't film it, but I just used 80 grit sandpaper on a little small piece of wood to sand that down. And now today I'm just going to put the same stuff I put down here, and that is this Total Boat epoxy primer barrier coat. I don't know if I'm going to use this for my final epoxy barrier coat down the road. I'm still evaluating different products and things, but for now I have this, and I'm just going to paint all this area just for the winter to get something on there. This fiberglass is all going to be cut out of here someday when I put the muffler back in, but for now it's a good way to keep everything closed off. It'll protect this plywood in here, and it is epoxied, but it'll protect it from UV and things like that, just for now. I'm going to be sanding it probably later. So it's a two-part deal. You have a base and curing agent, and it's a 3-to-1 mixture. And so I'll mix some of that up, and I'm just going to put it on with a brush. I'm not going to be fancy with it. I'm just trying to get things covered. I'm going to sand most of it off. Before I do that, though, I'm going to clean it with their de-waxer and surface prep. Yeah, and that'll be that. So I'm going to mix it up and we'll put some paint on here. Okay, so we've already wiped everything down on both sides. And this is stuff, now I got to admit that this stuff is not easy to mix. I mean, it would be great. And when I used it on this part, I would just mix the full can with the full can. If you're mixing ratios, the base is really thick, and the other one's kind of thins it out some, but it's not easy to mix up a little bit in a cup like this. So hopefully I got the ratio decent, and I'm just going to brush this stuff on because it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just trying to get something on there. Probably going to sand it all off. Just using some cheap little brush I have. It's going to probably lose bristles everywhere. And that's it. Okay, well that's going to wrap it up for this video. Hope you enjoyed it, and come back for the next one. And speaking of the next one, I decided to not put out any videos in September. So the next video is not going to come out until early October, I'd say. It's been a combination of things. I've got a really busy work schedule, September, October time frame, so that's probably going to equate to a lot of time on the computer, and done with work. I don't want to be on the computer, to be honest, editing videos. And yeah, this summer has not been the greatest summer for me to make progress on the boat here. We've had almost 40 days of 90-degree plus weather, and working under the shrink wrap just didn't happen when you do that. So a little bit behind on what I wanted to accomplish this year. So I figured if I take September, which is still a fairly decent month weather-wise here, I can try to catch up a little bit on that. So I want to kind of focus on working on the boat. I will be filming that stuff, so I'm still going to be doing stuff, but just not going to edit and put together videos. So a little bit of a break, and then we'll get back to it in October. So until then, have a good one, and we'll see you then.